Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome back for another dose of nightmare fuel. On this show we reminisce on childhood memories that may not have been all that child-friendly. And now it's finally time to check out the overlords of our childhoods, Disney. Let's travel all the way back to 1941 for the animated classic Dumbo. But who is Dumbo? He's a baby elephant who, like all other animals, is delivered to a parent by a stork. In this case, he's delivered to Mrs. Jumbo, a performing elephant in a travelling circus, which Dumbo eventually becomes a part of. However, due to his abnormally large ears, Dumbo is bullied and laughed at by other animals and crowds. Even his name being Dumbo is an insult, as his real name is Jumbo Jr. It's really sad to see Dumbo belittled by the others, especially with how goddamn cute he is, but Mrs. Jumbo takes care of him and tries her best to protect him. However, she can go so far no further when Dumbo becomes threatened, so she goes into maternal mode with glowing red eyes and chaotically defends Dumbo, leading to her being locked up in an isolated carriage as a mad elephant. Even this scene is pretty unsettling. The whole time Mrs. Jumbo has been a nervous, downtrodden mother elephant who is as hard and ruthless as a rose petal. But when her son is in apparent danger and being picked on by kids, that's when the game switches and she loses her shit. But to see her get so enraged, combined with being tied up and aggressively whipped on top of a frighteningly intense music score, it all combines into a really sinister scene. Dumbo befriends a mouse in the circus, Timothy Q Mouse that is, who becomes Dumbo's mentor and subconsciously convinces the circus ringmaster to put Dumbo in the main show, which naturally Dumbo makes a mess of to the point where he becomes a clown act. But after a couple of shows, Timothy and Dumbo are hanging out backstage when they procure a little drop to drink as a bottle of champagne has spilled into Dumbo's water bucket. This sends Dumbo and Timothy into a drunken hallucinogenic state, and hereby we end up with one of Disney's early animation nightmare fuel sources. They see the pink elephants. A bubble turns into an elephant. This elephant produces another elephant from its trunk, and the same again. They are multiplying. Timothy hides in fright beneath Dumbo's hat, and then it begins. The trumpets of hell beacon through the rafters as the pink elephants begin their parade. It sounds like they're summoning an evil figure or murderous dictator, but instead it's an entire orchestra of pink elephants. Dumbo looks on in amazement as the elephants of all shapes and sizes attack each other, causing them to change into new versions of themselves, whether it's bigger or smaller, or just turning into lots of tiny versions. They walk around the boundaries of the screen, overcrowding it to the point they burst. Now come the lyrics to accompany this horrendously spooky song. The first words are literally "Look out! Look out!" All while the elephants gaze through dark windows into an even darker house, like a haunted house. It's like they're invading your home, and the very thought of them peeking through your window at night with those empty, vacant eyes is fucking not unlike. The way the vocalists perform this song as well, there's little scary nuances they throw in. Listen to the delivery of the line, "They're here." It's got that ghostly laugh in the word here, tying this whole segment up into it being a horrifying experience that the pink elephants en masse are going to break into your home at night, and that's not a good thing. Look in the background as well, the open door showing hundreds of pink elephants outside, and just the framework of the house itself, it's all warped and distorted, echoing on the German Expressionist movement of cinema, which utilized crooked architecture to invoke a sense of the unknown, and would be an inspiration to Tim Burton in his movies. Do you want the home invasion to get even worse? Next lyric, they're walking around the bed. You are now surrounded. The safest, most secure place to a young child is their bed, and now the pink elephants have turned into the monster beneath it that we've all feared at one point in our lives. The bed then begins to levitate, and it's flung into the abyss of the dark background. Even hiding under your bed sheets won't work. They'll make your bed float and toss you into eternal damnation. You are not safe. Now the pink elephants stop being pink elephants for a while. We get two pale white apparitions, multicolored worms, then technicolor elephants whose colors merge into one another and they become kinda Siamese. It's trippy as fuck. And now, for me, the scariest part of the whole thing. We get one giant elephant made up of nothing but the heads of other elephants, which marches towards you as the music intensifies with the lyric,
"Chase him away! Chase him away!"
To me, this monstrous creature is never going to stop until it catches me, and worse still, when it gets closer, it begins to lean towards you, and you're left to gaze into the voids of its eyes once more. The chase them away lyrics as well, it's a double hit combo of we the viewer wanting to chase them away so they can stop coming for us, but also the fear factor that they are chasing us away, and we'll be forever locked in a terrifying hunt against an ever-changing demonic presence. Now we get into the acid trip portion of the scene, as if it wasn't fucked enough already for you. The elephant's eyes turn into pyramids, where we now see an elephant camel, an elephant pyramid, then the camel turns into a snake, then a belly dancer, and then an eye? We get theatrical dancing elephants, ice skating elephants, skiing elephants, the colour palette constantly changes around, then everything becomes a vehicle as the background flashes in an epileptic seizure-inducing whirlwind of shite before everything explodes and the elephants become the pink clouds of the morning sky. What a roller coaster! This blew my mind as a kid. It's so bloody difficult to comprehend. It's quite clearly been animated by people with the intention of it being related to alcoholic or drug-induced hallucinations. I mean, it's obvious. Not only does the term seeing pink elephants predate the film and refer to alcoholic hallucinosis, Dumbo legit gets lit right beforehand, but the animators attempted to display hallucinations that only adults would see and try to replicate them in a cartoon format for young children to try and comprehend, and because of that, the line of age appropriateness is as ever-changing as the colours of the elephants themselves. There are some sections which are perfectly fine and some which are absolutely terrifying. It constantly bounces around in tone, so it makes for a really zigzagged watch. But my main ingredients for this vintage bottle of nightmare fuel are as follows. I've mentioned a few times about the elephant's eyes being empty windows into nothingness, but on top of that, for the most part, the background of this scene is plain black. It just makes it more of like a nightmare setting than a real world setting. The elephants themselves never really having one fixed image is an issue as well, because the first time you watch this, you can never predict what they're going to transform into next, and then the portions such as the haunted house section have so many different elephants at once, you couldn't possibly pay attention to them all. Your eyes are always shifting around trying to check out what the hell's going on, so that only adds more to the confusion of the whole piece. Next, the music. Without going too much music theory with it, the melody choice here is creepy as shit. It has a galloping motion to the sound which reflects the marching of the elephants, and in terms of the chord and note selection, it has an almost sneaking sound about it, like the elephants are creeping about, and the notes gradually get lower and lower before raising back up to the original higher note again. It's a descending scale that, when it's finished, shoots back up to the beginning of the scale again to influence a subtle short sharp shock. The lyrics of the song as well, they're like warnings to the viewer, or all have an unwelcoming vibe of threat to them. Look out, here they come, they're here, they're walking around the bed, what'll I do? Then just this whole part. Seeing things you know that ain't can certainly give you an awful fright. What a sight, chase 'em away, I'm afraid, need your aid. You're admitting to seeing things that aren't real, you're scared because of that, and you're helpless in getting rid of them single-handed. How bloody daunting is that as a concept? The pink elephants have gone down in cinema history, and although they did feature in the recent live-action adaptation made by the aforementioned Tim Burton, other than a music sting harkening back to the original song, they didn't pose any kind of real threat or fear factor. Instead, Dumbo was entertained by them, and the alcohol themes weren't present. Even when Dumbo was adapted from the film into books, on many occasions the scene was cut out entirely and replaced with Dumbo just falling asleep and dreaming about flying. Henry Barnes, a columnist for the Guardian newspaper, once wrote that this scene sent out terrible adult messages, and even though he loved the scene, argued that there should be no place for drunken pink elephants in a children's movie. But what do you lot reckon? Did the pink elephants ever invade your nightmares as a child? Are you afraid and need my aid? Or are you used to seeing the pink elephants on a regular basis to the point this kind of thing is child's play to you now? Let me know in the comments, if you're sober enough that is, and while you're there, why not let me know about any other things from your childhoods that gave you the heebie-jeebies that you think would be great for me to expose to the Ghoul Gang. Thanks for checking this one out, and make sure to join me next time when I crack open another ice-cold can of nightmare fuel.